Chapter 3.4 is going to take two small steps forward in our experience. First off, we're going to look at the tricky adjustment to solving fractions. And again, it's not really a tricky thing. It's just making sure you're ready for it. After that, we'll spend the rest of the week adding to our two-step equations process. I teach this lesson under the assumption, and again, this is your contract for whether or not you should understand what's going on, but it's under the assumption you've done your best to learn the one-step process covered in Chapter 2, which again means if you have not done Chapter 2, then you're probably going to have an issue here. I also assume you've done your best on the lessons from last week, which was two-step equations, and by this I mean you've either worked to grasp the concept on your own or that you've asked for assistance. Again, if you've done anything else and you really haven't worked to get it, well, you know, it's not going to be the same. And because of this, I, not we, will no longer teach the complete question in terms of what values with the variable and all that stuff that we usually do, to focus on the strategy. You should know the strategy at this point. So if you've worked hard to get to this point, then you already understand how to answer those portions. There will be questions like that on your homework and quiz still, but you should know how to answer those, and we'll just simply focus on the steps of solving. So let's just get started. Again, now we actually get to just move. We don't have a lot of extra stuff to do, as long as, again, you've done what you need to do. We learned that whenever we have a fraction, that we get rid of the bottom number first. The bottom number is divided by 7, so we need to put times 7 times 7. The 7's go away, bringing down 3k and 42. And the way we get rid of 3, since it's 3 times k, is by dividing by 3. Dividing by 3. 3 goes into 4 once with 1 left over. 3 goes into 12 4 times, and that should be what we're looking at. So that was what we did last week. I did not move the fraction to the right side because I didn't want you to have to worry about it, but this week the fraction will be on the right side also. So again, here's your m, here's your 2/5. We are still going to move the bottom number first. This is divided by 5, so we will still multiply by 5, multiply by 5. 8 times 5 is 40. 5's go away, 2m comes down. This is 2 times m, so we're going to divide by 2 here and divide by 2 here. 40 divided by 2 is 20. There's your m, and that's it. So again, if you're looking at the pace and saying, why is he going so fast? It's probably because you don't understand. Because in terms of copying the notes, remember, you can pause this after I finish it and copy it down. You can also listen completely to it, not write down anything at all, and then pause it when I get done and do whatever. But again, the thing is, it's on video, so you should be able to do what you need to do to actually get this stuff understood. And then the last one in terms of the fraction stuff is, again, 4/3 on this side. We get rid of the divided by 3 by multiplying by 3. 12 times 3 is 36. Again, the 3's go away, bringing down 4s. How do I get rid of the 4 when it's being multiplied? Divide by 4. Divide by 4. 36 divided by 4 is 9. And s comes down, and that is pretty much your fraction stuff for this week. So these 3 questions, or I should say 2. Fraction on the left, fraction on the right. That's what's going to be on your homework in terms of fractions. Just make sure you're ready for both of those. The second portion of our day is going to focus on solving what you could call 3-step equations, but they're really not 3-step equations. The general idea is that there's actually nothing higher than 2-step equations. If you consider the following logic, if it doesn't look like this or it doesn't look like this, then it's just not ready to be solved yet. So anything you do to make it look like this is not really solving. What you're trying to do is to get it to look like something x plus a number equals a number, or a number equals something x plus a number. As I know it's kind of crazy to sound, but you'll see what I mean. You will learn as you move forward that the process before solving is just called simplifying. So simplifying means writing it in a better way. And so it's not really 3-step equations. They're just equations that require you to simplify first and then solve. Because, again, I respect your level of growth to this point, it's very important that you listen well to my explanations. If necessary, ask for clarity over email to ensure you're not learning incorrectly, because, again, doing so would be a bad thing. And this is the type of problems that you're going to see. We usually saw, again, something x plus a number equals a number. There's your x plus a number, but there's something else there with another number. If you remember, we did combining like terms. Now this is where you want to get your calculator out, or make sure you use your calculator on it, because that's going to be important. These two are like terms. and they need to be put together. And so 5x will come down because it has nothing to go with it, but 3 and negative 8 have to go together. So notice I'm taking a 3, which is positive 3, plus negative 8, or you could do even 3 minus 8. The key idea here to recognize is that that's a negative 5, so that's what you have to bring down is a minus 5. And once you simplify it, now we're at our checkpoint, as I told you last week, because now we should be able to say move this 5 by adding, bring down 5x, that goes away, this becomes 35, move this 5 by dividing, x comes down with 7, there's your answer. So the only thing we did differently is that we had to show this step, and yes, on your boxes you will show that is your first step, and then all the other stuff going down. But again, the key thing here is whenever you've got like terms, type the first number as is, which is 3, positive, and then you can either add a negative 8, because that is a negative 8, or you could do 3 minus 8 to get that answer. But again, main thing is make sure you bring that over as a negative 5, not just a 5. Solve. 8x minus 4 plus 10 equals 78. This doesn't look like our home situation, our checkpoint. So what we want to do is say, hey, these two things can go together. So again, type the first number in as is, so negative 4, and then plus 10. And then it gives you a number, 6. That's a positive 6, which means that this turns into 8x, because that comes down, plus 6, because that 6 was a regular 6, equals 78. From there, again, we move the added or subtracted number first. That's what we worked on last week. 8x comes down, that goes away, making 72. This is 8 times x, so we divide by 8. We divide by 8, bringing down x, and 72 divided by 8 is 9. And that's all you need. The only step you need to be careful about is the combining terms, which we did, I believe, in chapter 1. So again, if you jump right past chapter 1 into chapter 2, that might be where you're seeing an issue. But the end of chapter 1 is where that is. 3x minus 9 minus 11 equals 10. Again, 3x is good, but you got two numbers here on the left side that can be put together, and we type it in as is. Negative 9 minus 11 works, or negative 9 plus negative 11 also gets you the same thing. As you can see, again, negative 9 minus 11 was negative 20. Negative 9 plus negative 11 equals negative 20. However you decide to do that, just know that this turns into 3x minus 20 equals 10. Again, that 20 was negative, so you want to make sure you put minus 20. Now we move the 20 by using its opposite, so adding 20. And move the 3, which is being multiplied, by dividing it. And there is your answer. The only step is simplifying. So it's not a 3. It does take 3 steps to solve the equation, but it's not really called a 3-step equation. You just have to learn that now you need to simplify before you solve. Same thing here. 9x minus 7 plus 3. Again, these two numbers are on the same side of that wall, and they can be put together. So negative 7 plus 3. Again, negative 7 plus 3, which gives me a negative 4. So this turns into 9x, and that makes negative 4 equals 23. And from there, again, how do we move a minus 4? Well, by adding 4 to both sides. 9x comes down with 27. We move the 9 by dividing by 9, dividing by 9, and x comes down with 3. So if you've copied notes in the video, they're exactly the same as the boxes in your homework. Just be sure to use the notes as a guide. If you get stuck, the MathXL is designed to help you find your first mistake. It does actually tell you where your first mistake is at. If that doesn't work, be sure to ask for assistance, and again, include your work in that picture so that I can figure out where you strayed off the path. Other than that, like I said, good luck, and let's get ready to go. Keep moving.